Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Hope you are okay on that side of the screen. And today with this awesome motherboard from ASUS. This is the top motherboard and it's called ASUS ROG Maximus Z690 Hero, but probably you have seen that on the title already. This is a top motherboard with top materials and a lot of features that I want to share some of them with you. I will not be able to share all of them, so I will leave a link down below so that you can check out some of the more boring specifications, but that will be very useful on our daily usage of this motherboard. Now, in terms of looks, it has this really aggressive and nice look in terms of the coolers, dissipators right over here on the top. This black brushed aluminium, which just looks awesome. It has the 1700 socket, so we are in a transition right over here. In terms of cooling, just beware that your cooler might not be able to support, so you might want to contact the brand of your cooler to get additional brackets to support it, or if you are going to purchase a new cooler, then just have that in mind. And on this particular motherboard, we are going to use the i9-12900K, which is a beast of a CPU. Now, on the last video we saw the ASUS TUF Gaming B660M Plus Wi-Fi, which is an intermediate board level, and if you are looking for something a little bit cheaper with a few limitations compared with the chipset of the 690, then I will leave a link right over here so that you can check that out. But one of the differences is that on the 660 chipset we will not be able to use the K series CPU, and right over here we are. Now, in terms of RAM, it has 4 slots right over here, which will be able to take a maximum of 128 gigs with a maximum overclock of 6400 megahertz, which is more than enough, I guess. In terms of storage, it has 5 slots for M.2 SSDs. 3 of them are right over here on the motherboard, which 2 are PCI 4.0, which will give us the freedom to use SSDs like the ones that I use from Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus, and that gives me 7000 megabytes per second on reads and on writes. If you haven't checked the video, I'll try to leave a link right over here or on the description, but just awesome. And then the third on the motherboard as PCI 3.0, which will give us roughly 3500 megabytes, and it also has this extra feature right over here, or this extra piece of hardware, which is really cool. This is called the ROG Hyper M.2 card PCI 4.0, and basically what we can do with this is just to add 2 more SSDs M.2. We just need to open it up and then put the SSDs inside, which I did use 2 Sabrents Rocket 4 Plus, and bam, that is it. It will give us the full speed of the SSDs because it has the PCIe 4.0, and we will be connecting via the PCI. On the back I/O, we will have a lot of connectivity, starting with 2 buttons on the top, which will be clear CMOS and flash BIOS, and then we also have an HDMI 2.1 to Thunderbolt 4 with all the features that Thunderbolt has, plus the possibility to have DisplayPort 1.4, 2 USB 2.0, which are the only boring connections right over here but are necessary for peripherals and so on and so forth, 7 USB 3.2 generation 2, one of which is USB Type-C, and 6 USB Type-A, the Wi-Fi 6E module and Ethernet 2.5 gigabits, and also the audio output and input, including optical out. And probably you have used Aura Sync before, like I do right over here, but in here we have a few more details, especially this one right over here on the display, which is called a Polymo Lightning, and it's just awesome. It gives us a lot of flexibility, and we also have, of course, 4 connectors right over here to connect RGB so that we can control everything on our computer using the Aura Sync software on the motherboard. Talking about software, we have a lot of software, and most of the motherboards from ASUS, actually all of them have software, but this one being the top, it has a lot. So just check the link down below and you will see all the software that you can find and use to customize your setup, including one which is really cool, and it has to do with the fan controllers. And talking about fans, we have 8 fan connectors right over here, 4 on the top just next to the CPU area, and then 4 at the bottom part that we can connect to several fans that we have on our system, coolers and so on and so forth. And besides that, it also has a lot more connectivity that we can use to connect to our case, depending on the case that we have, but that's something that you will check down below. Now, there are two details right over here which are really nice. One of which is, you know, when it's really frustrating, you want to take a GPU out and you can't put your finger to release the part that releases the GPU. They have a really interesting solution right over here. When we press this button right over here, it will release the GPU. So really smart, really nice from ASUS. And the other detail is regarding the M.2 SSDs here on the motherboard. We will not need any kind of screws. We just need to push in that plastic thingy and it will lock. Actually, I was thinking right now that I did use screws here on the expansion PCIe, but inside the case there's two extra plastic thingies that I'm thinking right now that probably are to be used right over here, so no screws at all. And that is it. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to assemble this in a setup, and in a few days I will share some more details with you using the Intel i9 right over here and these Kingston Fury Beast DDR5 RAM and a few more components. That being said, hope that the video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget that usual thumbs up right over there, which is really appreciated on this side of the screen. My name is Roberto Jorge, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.